Two foreign journalists and a photographer traveled together to a remote village in Europe. The reason? Tourists have been disappearing there for several years, and strange rumors surround the village's name itself. As soon as they enter, they realize something isn't normal. The entire village is shrouded in a mysterious fog. The locals are extremely quiet. Everywhere you look, there are religious symbols and an old shrine that everyone seems to fear. At first, they think it might be some kind of cult or superstition. Nothing too serious. But gradually, they realize that what they thought was superstition might actually be the only truth. I was talking about the 2010 movie The Shining. So how's everyone doing? Hope you're all doing great. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ankita, and welcome to my channel, PlotUnlocked. Let's get started with today's story. At the beginning, we see a man being captured. Everyone around starts chanting mantras. They dress him in white, tie his hands and feet, and perform a ritual. A man in black hides his face and starts reciting a chant. Then, a metal mask is forced onto the tied man's face, and he is struck hard with a hammer. At that moment, a loud scream echoes, and the man dies right there. Then we are introduced to a couple, Carmen and Marcus. They are having some tension because Carmen has been so busy with work lately that it's affecting their personal life. Marcus wants to spend quality time with Carmen, but she's focused on her career. During a conversation about this, they argue a bit, and Marcus leaves. Carmen goes to her workplace to discuss a case with her boss. It's about a village in Poland where anyone who visits a certain spot disappears, and their luggage is found somewhere else. This has been happening for several years. The most recent missing person is named Eric, the same man who was killed at the start of the story. Carmen wants to research this case and turn it into a headline story. But her boss refuses, saying there's no evidence or anything interesting here. According to him, every year luggage gets lost at the airport. There's nothing unusual. Carmen's boss assigns her another case instead. But Carmen is not one to give up easily. She brings a junior colleague, Sarah, to Eric's house. Eric's mother, Laura, welcomes them. She has gone to the police many times, but nothing has been done. They always make excuses. Eric's luggage was found far from where he disappeared, and Laura believes the case won't go anywhere. Carmen gets permission to take Eric's journal, which contains details about places he visited, including this mysterious village. She starts reading it. Carmen asks Laura if she can keep the journal, and Laura agrees. Meanwhile, Sarah looks at the photos on the walls, pictures of Eric with his cousin and father. Eric's father passed away 5 years ago, and Eric loved traveling. But after Eric disappeared, Laura feels very lonely. Carmen and Sarah say goodbye and leave. Sitting in the car, Carmen asks Sarah where they are headed next. That night, while studying the case, a strong wind blows through the open window. Someone whispers Carmen's name. When she goes closer and closes the window, she realizes the voice is coming from inside the room. A boy stands there with his head down, crying. Then the door suddenly shuts by itself, and the boy screams from behind Carmen. He says, "Leave me alone." And it's clear this boy is Eric. His eyes have been gouged out. Carmen is terrified and jumps up, realizing it's just a nightmare. The next day, Carmen goes to Marcus's studio. Marcus is a professional photographer. Carmen asks him to come with her to the village. If he comes along, they can work on this report together, and Marcus can take some good photos. This trip might also bring them closer, repairing their strained relationship. But Marcus thinks the trip could be dangerous, so he initially refuses. Carmen persuades him, and he finally agrees. Meanwhile, their boss assigns Carmen and Sarah to trivial cases and throws the files in the trash. Just then, Marcus calls to say he's agreed to go. Carmen, Sarah, and Marcus start driving to the village. While Marcus drives, Carmen reads Eric's journal. It mentions that the village is covered in strange fog and the locals are odd. They seem disconnected from each other. But at some point, she notices blank pages. There isn't much written. Once they reach the village, Sarah, Carmen, and Marcus realize the journal was telling the truth. The locals are strange. Their clothing and traditions look ancient, like they belong to a completely different era. Sarah sees a man skinning a pig upside down. She grimaces, and Marcus quickly says, "That's just how farmers work. This is how our food gets to the table." The locals don't speak English, so the three of them can't really communicate. They approach a little girl who's about to do something, and ask about Eric by showing his photo. Before she can answer, her father angrily calls her away in another language. The girl escapes, leaving them confused. Meanwhile, the father who had been skinning the pig wipes the blood from his knife in anger. The trio continues walking, observing villagers leaving a religious shrine. The villagers are extremely devout, showing great respect to their spiritual leaders. But this isn't Christianity. It's a religion unfamiliar to the outsiders. Smoke rises from the nearby forest, sparking their curiosity. They move toward it, but Henrik, a local, comes with his team and warns them to leave. Carmen pushes back, insisting they need to see for themselves. Marcus is angry but worried about the danger, so he reluctantly follows her. They venture into the forest, moving deeper into the fog. Marcus asks why Carmen brought Sarah. She's too young. But Carmen insists she needs to be there. They reach a part of the forest completely shrouded in fog, like a wall hiding something. Even the leaves don't move. It's as if time has stopped. Marcus snaps a few photos, and this angers Carmen. While walking, Sarah gets lost in the fog. Carmen calls for her, but hears nothing. Finally, Sarah escapes the fog, and Marcus explains that she went inside to look for Carmen. Carmen finds a statue in the fog. It has a human body, but an animal-like face. It's creepy and unnatural. Carmen takes several photos. She notices that the statue's head keeps turning toward her, its eyes staring, and in its hand a heart starts beating. Terrified, she runs out, but hears whispers and chanting all around. Finally, she emerges from the fog and finds Sarah, relieved. She asks Sarah if she saw the statue, and Sarah says yes. Marcus, at that moment, decides he doesn't want to stay any longer. While heading back to the car, they see the little girl again. She says, "I know where your friend is. Follow me." Marcus hesitates, but Carmen follows her, and Sarah joins. They reach an old house filled with coffins. Opening them, they find dead bodies, wearing white robes and metal masks, just like Eric's photos. One of the bodies has a tattoo matching the one in Eric's photo. It's Eric. They realize the tourists who disappeared were killed here. The religious symbols are present, and the trio takes pictures. The little girl slips away, leaving them trapped. Marcus struggles to open the door, but they hear someone calling from behind. They realize they are lost in the forest again. Villagers are approaching. Panicked, they start running. Sarah and Marcus manage to escape, but Carmen gets caught. Marcus tries to save her, but he can't. Sarah is shot in the leg by Henrik while trying to escape. The villagers knock Carmen out with chloroform. Before losing consciousness, Sarah sees a terrifying creature's face. Sarah and Carmen wake up tied up, brought before the village's religious leaders. Among them is the man in black who cast the spell on Eric. His name is Arctius. He watches Sarah, Carmen, and Marcus carefully, and gives instructions to the villagers. The villagers take Marcus and pin him down on a gun barrel, while Sarah and Carmen are led to an old house. They strip Sarah and Carmen naked at one point, and the scene is extremely tense and creepy. Then the villagers dress them in white robes. Arctius keeps Carmen restrained while Sarah is tied to a stone slab. The villagers use knives to cut at her, and blood begins to flow. Sarah screams in terror. At that moment, she sees everyone's true form. All the villagers are wearing human masks, but are actually monstrous demons underneath. A metal mask is forced onto Sarah's face, and Arctius smashes it with a hammer, driving spikes into her eyes. The pain is unbearable, and Sarah dies screaming. Meanwhile, Marcus, trying to save Carmen, faces his own horror. The villagers aim guns at him. He fights back with a coral cross and holy water, trying to control the demonized Carmen. Carmen, now completely possessed, attacks everyone. Henrik finally manages to subdue her using the right ritual, and the villagers kill the possessed outsiders before they can fully transform. Marcus watches helplessly as Carmen is finally controlled. The villagers explain to Marcus what happened. The foggy forest is cursed because of the statue. Anyone who sees the statue gradually becomes possessed by a demon and suffers mentally. That's why the outsiders who didn't heed warnings had to be stopped before they were fully consumed. The curse spreads through the eyes, which is why it must be ended by striking the eyes first. Marcus never saw the statue, so he's safe. The lesson is clear. Curiosity can be dangerous. Sometimes it's better not to know the things that are hidden for a reason. The story of Eric and the villagers ends with this warning. After the horrifying events in the old house, Carmen and Marcus barely managed to escape. Sarah, unfortunately, didn't make it, and her death haunts them. As they stumble through the foggy forest, Marcus notices that the paths are twisting, almost like the forest itself is alive, preventing them from finding the car. Carmen is shaken, physically and mentally, but she knows they can't stop. Suddenly, they hear voices in the mist, whispering their names, calling them back. Carmen freezes, realizing it's the same whispering voices she saw in her visions. They guide her to a statue deep in the fog. The statue's eyes seem to follow them, pulsing with black energy. Marcus wants to turn back, but Carmen insists they have to face it, or else the curse will never end. Meanwhile, the villagers are watching them, making sure they don't escape easily. Henrik appears briefly to warn Marcus, telling him that if they survive the night, they will be free. But they must not look directly at the cursed statue. As they move closer, Carmen has another vision. She sees Eric's fate and the other missing tourists, and the true power of the statue. Marcus tries to stay calm, but he's terrified seeing Carmen's fear and the strange fog. A sudden movement in the mist. Something huge is coming toward them. It's a shadowy figure, not entirely human. Carmen almost loses it, but Marcus grabs her, and they manage to dodge the figure. They continue toward the old house where the car is. Carmen guides Marcus, remembering the girl's directions from earlier. They find the car, but it's not over. The villagers try to block their path, forcing Marcus to fight them off while Carmen starts the engine. Just when it seems like they might escape, Carmen sees the shadow again, the possessed villagers trying to reach them. With a desperate burst of speed, Marcus drives through the foggy forest, narrowly avoiding the attacks. Finally, they break out of the fog into open road. Carmen and Marcus take a deep breath, exhausted, their hearts racing, realizing they survived. But the memories of Sarah, Eric, and the horrors they witnessed will never leave them. The village, the statue, and the curse remain behind, waiting for the next curious souls. After the terrifying night in the village, Carmen and Marcus finally reach safety. Their bodies are bruised, minds exhausted, but they survive the nightmare. Marcus drives silently for a while, both of them processing everything they just went through. Carmen looks out the window, thinking about Eric, Sarah, and all the missing tourists. She realizes the village wasn't just mysterious. It was cursed, protected by the statue. Henrik had warned them, but their curiosity led them straight into danger. Now, Marcus and Carmen understand one thing clearly. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. The statue they saw, the villagers' strange rituals, the fog, the disappearances, all of it was a warning for outsiders. The villagers weren't evil at heart. They were protecting themselves and the world from the curse. Back at home, Marcus reflects on the lessons. Curiosity can be deadly if we ignore warnings. Carmen feels guilty for Sarah, but she knows they can't change what happened. The experience taught them courage, survival, and humility. Marcus and Carmen decide to share their story carefully, warning others not to repeat their mistakes. The lesson is simple but powerful. Not everything unknown should be explored. Sometimes, curiosity can be more dangerous than any monster. As they drive away from the village, the foggy forest disappears behind them. The cursed statue remains, waiting silently for the next curious souls. And that's the story of The Shining, a reminder that fear, mystery, and respect for the unknown are often more powerful than courage alone.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Plot Unlocked for more amazing tales.